Today we're going to have a brief conversation about reggae music. I'm going to entitle this, Put Some Respect on Jamaica's Name. Because for me, Jamaican music, reggae music, is one of those musical art forms that went from 0 to 100 real quick. I can't think of another, how can I put it, musical genre that is indicative of a culture that has created such a footprint on the world in such a short period of time. When you talk about reggae, really you're going back to Caribbean folk rhythms, right? Early part of the 20th century. Then you're getting into mento music, which is like a calypso, pre-soul, like calypso, Caribbean lilt type music. Then Jamaica had a jazz history too, which a lot of people don't know about. Through, I believe, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, the Alpha Boys School is an iconic school that bred a lot of jazz musicians, Jamaican jazz musicians. A lot of them had to leave Jamaica because of lack of work, but there is a jazz history with Jamaica too. And in the mid to late 50s, then ska came about, and that's the origins of reggae. Ska is a music that is that has a persistent beat with almost like driven by a horn section and a little like guitar, a chink, a chink, a chink, a chink. That's kind of the core of ska, and that music was transferred over. It became, I wouldn't say a global sensation, but it built a cult following within the UK and the US. I'm speaking for the UK because I'm from the UK, and with full disclosure, my parents are Jamaican, so I'm of Jamaican origin too, so I'm obviously biased, but what I'm saying is true. It was taken by the mod movement in England too, and it became a very popular musical art form in the UK and remains so to this day. So you had the early origins, which is ska, and then in the 60s you get into reggae music. The pioneers, such as, you've got your Jimmy Cliffs and your Bob Andys and your Delroy Wilsons and the Hip Tones and Ken Booth, and of course the late great Robert Nesta Marley, known to most of us as Bob Marley. And then you get into the 70s with the Roots movement. You get producers such as King Tubby and Lee Scratch Perry, who are stripping away the vocals from reggae and focusing on the dub and the bass line, and at times even stripping away the bass line. And if you're talking about Lee Scratch Perry, you're also looking at I want to say the origins of sampling, because I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but I know I have Lee Scratch records where from the 70s where he's sampling like cows and sheep and stuff, and this is pre-hip hop, and we'll get to hip hop in a minute. But then you've got the DJs are coming through too. You've got your Big Youths, your Dillingers, your U-Roys, your Long Rangers, Michigan and Smiley, so on and so forth. I-Roy coming through and doing social commentary and being comical and being politically aware over these rhythms. And at the same time, we've got the Rocksteady movement with like a host of singers, Jacob Miller, so on and so forth, all coming through. At one point in the 1970s, I read this somewhere, in the 1970s, Jamaica had the second largest recording music industry. The second largest music industry in the world was coming out of this small little island, Jamaica. and reggae has permeated all parts of the globe at this point, where most people, you rarely find someone that hates reggae music. That's what I'm saying. You've got to put some respect on Jamaica's name. Went from 0 to 100 real quick, created an art form from this island that's permeated the whole globe. Now we can talk about Latin music. Yeah, Latin music is popular, but the base on Latin music is really African rhythms, right? And I think I'll do a YouTube about that at some point. I think about doing something about a cross section between Latin music and African. But Latin music is basically African music. They did add some elements for the cowbell and so on and so forth. I don't mean to be dismissive of Latin music. I do love Latin music. All of this is Latin, but it's different from reggae, which is for the most part an original art form, right? So just a few real quick. A few of my favourite reggae records. Unoy, who I mentioned earlier on, great MC, pioneer. Dread in a Babylon, incredible record. We have, on the UK side of things, Carol Thompson, London Girl, Lovers Rock. I won't go into Lovers Rock, that's a whole other thing, but it's a offshoot of reggae, which originates from the UK. I want to say London, but I don't want to exactly say London. It may originate somewhere else, but from my knowledge, it originated in London, and I think in North London, where I'm from. And Carol Thompson's from North London. Burning Spear, love Burning Spear, roots reggae. Never really understood him as a child, but love him now. Running through this real quick. Leroy Smart, great artist, bad boy, and a style icon for me anyway. The great tenor passed away, dancehall reggae legend. Augustus Pablo with that roots reggae. Augustus Pablo presents Item Dub. Jackie Matu, this is a rare record. Jackie Matu, Keep on Dancing. Early ska reggae rhythms, front record, great cover. Jacob Miller, rest in peace, passed away too. Very charismatic. He was almost like the heir to Bob Marley, and then he passed away, and Dennis Brown kind of slid into that slot. Bob Marley record, Exodus. I used to play this to death as a kid. So. Yeah. Black Star Line, in my top 5 reggae albums of all time. I was raised on this record. Tune after tune after tune, real roots reggae. Shout out to Fred Lopes. He's still around, to follow him on Facebook. London Vibes again, Linton Kwesi Johnson, the great poet and philosopher. John Holt, I would say he's like a Tony Bennett for reggae. He's kind of omnipresent. Doesn't get the props like a Greggy Isaacs or a Dennis Brown or like a Bob whatever, but he's a consistent guy and he's been around, and he passed away a couple of years ago. Nitty Gritty, dancehall reggae vibes from the 80s. He's passed away too. He ended up getting murdered. That's a whole other story. The Heptones, Ken Booth and those guys, legendary, classic. I found this record recently, Winston Francis, really cool, early reggae, ska, smooth, lovers vibes. Studio One, and Studio One is the Motown of reggae. That's a whole other episode. The great Dennis Emmanuel Brown, Wolves and Lepers, my favourite Dennis Brown album, and the iconic movie and soundtrack for Harder They Come. This was in every Jamaican and 50% of white households when I was a kid growing up in London. Very famous soundtrack. And I just wanted to hit you off with a few of my faves. That's pretty much it on this episode of Vinyl Ramblings. And thank you for checking us out. You can find us at Good Fine Records on Instagram, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you tuning in, and put some respect on Jamaica's name. Peace.